And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well. Hello and welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. It's Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero, Sierra Tango Hotel. And this is the podcast to give you tools, tips, and practical solutions to help operators achieve their radio goals. Of course, joined today by Sidecar Steve. He's here. He's wearing his brand. He's staying warm. We're in the spring into April. Happy April. How are you, Steve?
Happy April. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
You know, our boy is also here from Maryland hanging out. There's Scotty. Scotty's here working the chat room. If you have a question for today, we talk about tips and tools and practical solutions to try to help you achieve those goals. Put a Q in front of it. We'll be answering questions a little bit later today. Gummy, what's going on back east?
Not much. Beautiful day. It's 46 and sunny in Ellicott City, Maryland, and it's going to be 55, and it's going to be a glorious day. It's been blowing winds a lot lately, but the winds are going to be calm, and I'm going to try to get out and about for sure.
Oh, right on. Yeah, we'll see what we are. At game time, we are at 45 degrees. We encourage all of our podcast listeners to join us on Saturday morning when we do a live stream. It's a community-based live stream. It's cool. We get an energy for having an audience, if you will, people here to participate. So you're encouraged to join us as well and to answer the questions that we put out there. We did a poll. Steve wanted to know if people were contesters, what they did during the contest. So today in the poll, you can vote as you come in, and maybe we'll do another poll because I've got some other questions for you. But again, if you have questions for us, put a Q in front of it, and we will pull those and answer those a little bit later in the show. Guys, you know, there was some severe weather in eastern Tennessee this week, so I invited Dale to join us. Dale is here. He's a member of our community. We're going to talk to him and find out what happened. AB4DK Kilo, Alpha Bravo 4 Delta Kilo. And good morning to you, sir. I see you're dressed for the occasion. You handle your business on the MCOM emergency side. What happened this week around Wednesday in eastern Tennessee?
Well, this past Wednesday, Tennessee was experiencing some statewide severe weather threats. They were causing tornado watches and warnings to be issued across the western part of the state. And moving to the east, of course, everything here in the east comes from the west in Tennessee. But we had several rounds of severe weather impacts across the middle region and even into East Tennessee, with the high winds causing a pretty severe wildfire in Sevier County, Tennessee, in the Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area.
So you sent a lot of great photographs. I mean, they're great in the way that they're firsthand documentary types of looks of what was going on in your area. Wednesday, you start to hear this news. I start to see you post things on our Discord, which is greatly appreciated. We have a weather channel there and an emergency channel, so you were kind of on both sides of that. Tell me your role when something like this is happening. We've got wildfires and severe weather at the same time. What goes off in Dale's mind of what do we need to do? What do we need to listen to?
Well, we were getting warnings of the severe weather coming up. I'm a District 6 Skywarn coordinator in Eastern Tennessee. Our Eastern Tennessee region goes from Chattanooga up to Bristol, Tennessee, into Wise, Virginia. And we were getting weather reports from the National Weather Service to be prepared that our spotter network may be needed to activate to pass on information to the Weather Service concerning weather. Fortunately, here in East Tennessee, we didn't get much of the severe stuff, with the exception of the very high winds. I was actually in Sevier County on Wednesday with my father at a doctor's appointment. So I saw firsthand when the smoke fired up and the fires began. I was over there, very smoky, started real quick. And we had recorded winds starting out from 30 to 40 miles an hour. And into that evening, we were up to 80 miles per hour up on the mountains. But we were monitoring the frequencies for that. And then we offer support for damage assessment as the events go on through our area. So we were on standby pretty much for weather alerts.
Steve, W7UDI, is here. You guys haven't met officially, but probably in the digital realm. He's also a volunteer firefighter. He's very accustomed to dealing with brush fires and wildfires and all sorts of stuff. Do you have any questions for Dale about what they were seeing about their weather, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it was the high winds were the big issue that especially to fan the fire, and then on top of it, as it gets bigger, it generates its own wind. So it's just this catch-22. I did notice somewhere, I might have been on off of QRZ, or I saw a picture of one gentleman's site that he hosts a couple of repeaters, and he took damage to that and took out 3 amateur repeaters. And has there been any other reports of any other sites, remote sites that have taken damage from the fires that you've heard of?
We've not got a total assessment yet, but we certainly got damages throughout the area. The evacuation area affected around 11,000 homes in the Wires Valley area. They closed down the road between Pigeon Forge and Townsend, which is, they call the other side of the mountain. But there were several. In fact, I know of one ham that was evacuated. They was really concerned about his house. There's a tremendous amount of help. I guess we had like 400 agencies respond from across the country and the state. We had some hotshot teams from the forestry teams. It was a big event, and it's kind of calmed down somewhat now. We're probably 85% contained. I think around 4,600 total acres affected by the burn, and over 100 buildings that were impacted with damage to some sort, some kind.
Okay.
So what kind of topography, or what's the makeup of the land? Is a lot more timber, sage. Well, I don't think there's sagebrush there in Tennessee, so it's going to be more of a timber.
It is. It's a mountainous area. Lots of mountains, a lot of valleys. Cabins are built, spotted all over the backside country there in Wires Valley. Several resort areas, cabin resort areas, retreats were affected. The roads were still closed until I think they began to open up portions of the roads this morning to let people back in. It's pretty bad, but I have got some information on Mr. Tim Berry's repeater system. It's located west of the affected area where the fires are. And fortunately, his site wasn't affected by the fires, but it was definitely affected by the winds.
Yeah, the picture I saw had a tower that was folded over. There was no fire damage, so I wasn't 100% sure whether it was strictly the winds that took out the station. So, okay.
Yeah, there was recorded 75-mile-an-hour winds at the repeater site. Just down from the site, there was a home there about a half a mile away, and the winds destroyed the whole roof off the house. So we had recorded winds of 75 mile an hour. It took down a 140-foot tower, caused electrical damage to 2 other buildings when the tower came down. We lost a 6-meter, a 2-meter, and a 440 repeater system, along with some commercial repeaters up there that were serving some ambulance services and stuff.
So the real work now, well, not the real work, but a new phase of work will move forward for responders and hams and things like that. Any casualties that you know
of? As of yesterday afternoon, my reports were there were just minimal, no casualties, no deaths. We had 2 firefighters injured that was flown out and treated. We had 1 civilian that was actually doing some bulldozer work that was overtaken by the smoke, and he was flew out by Lifestar to UT Hospital in Knoxville. We did have a National Guard helicopter that was forced down. They had some mechanical issues, but we had no injuries there as well.
Well, thank you for that update. What are you going to do today? You're dressed up, or is that for us, or are you going to go out there and pick up a shovel? What's happening today?
Well, we're going to be going out probably looking at some damage assessment areas. We've not really, our team's not been activated yet, but we got to be prepared to go. Mr. Tim Berry is the owner of that repeater site. It's Whiskey Bravo 4, Golf Bravo India. And the area folks have started a GoFundMe page for him to get some funds. Unfortunately, he only had liability insurance, so it's going to be a terrible expenditure.
Dale, why don't you will you pass him our best and maybe an invitation to come on and talk about this, and we can kind of follow his progress to see where he is, and if we have any community members that may be willing to help in the area to at least do some of the lifting, we'd be happy to try and help with that.
Certainly will. Just got a report. A notice just popped up that they've already have been donated $4,500.
Beautiful.
He's probably looking at $50,000 or $60,000 to
Oh,
repairs
Lord.
done. But actually, the work started yesterday. There was a portable repeater tower that was taken up there to get the commercial repeaters back on the air. And of course, that was the forefront, getting those ready. And then the ham radios repeaters will be up next.
All right. If you'd like to see some of the images, Dale has posted some of that stuff in the weather and the emergency channels of our Discord. You're welcome to join us over there. For our friends who are watching our live stream as we record today, we'll put that link in the chat as well. Dale, you stay safe out there. Thank you for all you do and everything you've done for the show. We appreciate you. Alpha Bravo 4 Delta Kilo. I think I got it. AB4DK. Stay safe out there, sir. We appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
you,
you.
Dale.
Thank you for letting us be on.
You bet.
Thanks, Dale.
All right. There you go. All right, Steve, is it normal to have a 70-mile-an-hour wind take over a tower like that? Or do you sense that maybe there was something wrong structurally? I mean, 70 miles an hour is a lot of wind, but
It's a lot of wind. I mean, it's the tower should have handled it, but sometimes the wind comes up. You got a vortex effect on top of a ridge. So wherever they measured that 70 miles an hour was probably down a little lower. And obviously the house that's below the ridge top lost its roof. So, I mean, that's 75 miles an hour is a category 1 hurricane so we're dealing with a lot of wind. And as that wind starts to come up and goes right over the ridgeline, it kind of has that vortex effect. And so the wind probably up there was in excess of, triple digits to take that tower down. It looked like, pretty, at least a Roan 25 tower. So it should have handled it with no problem. But stuff happens.
We'll follow this story because it's interesting. It makes you feel sad. I'm glad that no one was really hurt or injured or died, which is great. It's unfortunate that someone's going to have to absorb that kind of money for the tower, but seeing the image really makes you feel something as radio operators when you see a tower just folded up, and it's like, that's it. And I wondered if it has to be like a straight line wind to hit it like that and just fold it up, or if there was something structurally. We won't know that answer. Yeah. But as a tower expert, I consider you an expert as someone who's done that in their career for so long. If that's a normal speed, that could, top you off.
Most likely a guy could have failed an anchor point or just a failure on a guy wire. And then that's all it took. And it just looked like it just folded over from the one picture I saw. So I haven't seen any more. I've seen quite a few sites that are burned out, and the only thing left standing is pretty much the tower. But that's usually just by fire here, mainly here on the West Coast. We run into that. They had a double whammy. They had the storm and then a fire also. So this one looks like it was just from the storm itself. There could have been, a microburst that came down. Who knows what could have happened? There's, unless he had some weather instrumentation on top of at the site, we don't know what the winds were. But
it's a good point about the guy wires and what you said about that, because there are other components there that could fail and be affected by that wind. So interesting. And I appreciate Dale doing that. He's been a very active, relatively new. I think our friend Ben maybe have introduced Dale to 100 Watts in a Wire, and he's out contributing a lot on our Discord side. And everybody's welcome to join us over there. We have different channels and different conversations, and we check the weather, and we do all these nerdy things that we do as radio ops. And so moving into, I got another topic I want to talk about here, and it's the radio. It's the Russian radio, like, nuttiness. Here they go. It's wartime, right? And I know Pootie is just like, I'm going in, I'm going to do what I got to do. But these fellas, I'm going to say fellas mostly, I'm assuming that most of they're using these unsecured radio communications, and I think it's getting their asses kicked. I think we have the radio that won the war, right? In World War II, radio played such a pivotal role. And here, I mean, I'm no, war expert, but you got these guys who are using the communications in an insecure fashion. And I wanted to ask you a little bit, because I know you know about these sorts of things. But what should be classified? What are they doing wrong, Steve? Are they just not using sort of like a truncated system? But basically, the Ukrainian soldiers are intercepting, or even, other intelligence are picking up these communications that are just insecure. What does it mean to have an insecure radio communication?
Oh, it means everything. It means you're giving away your position, and your tactics, and what. Okay, we're going to do this, move this piece of equipment over to here or over there, or do whatever tactics they're utilizing that is now out in the open. And, for us here, with our military, there's OPSEC, which is where you think about that security. And yes, radio played a huge part in how we, navigated through World War II and everything. But we were on open frequencies, but we countered that, especially like in the Pacific theater, with the Navajo talker, the wind talkers, the Navajo Nation that participated there. And that was a form of encryption. And, but these guys they're grabbing just commercial off the shelf radios and communicating. They're not thinking, personally. And, they probably don't have all the enough equipment. So yeah, I can imagine, our military and our folks kind of looking at that going, what the heck is going on? But it's a perfect example. And, why, some kind of encryption or some way of masking the information that you're conveying. I would imagine with Ukrainian soldiers and the citizenry that are just taunting these guys. And, it's better to be a traitor than be fertilizer comments and things like that. It's
I mean, they're using
amazing.
cell phones, the regular cell phones. They're
using
making
like
calls
little
home.
radios.
And there's no encryption. There's no, so it's they're paying for that on the battlefield. Where in World War II, it helped us win the war. This one is radio is playing a really interesting part as the Ukrainians and their friends, including the United States, are helping with intelligence. They probably are like, this is crazy. We just know where they're headed. Because I think the power of a major superpower of Russia, I mean, I don't know. Let me preface this I don't know anything about anything. I'm just saying, if you're using information that's open and free like that, you're not going to win as quickly. It's like, he's coming around the corner. We know he's coming around the corner. Got him. Got a guy on the corner. Intercepted. Anyway, I thought it was a fascinating look at radio playing in today's modern era, with the internet
New York
and cell
Times
phones.
article really kind of opened it up, and we got to see it. So but from some of the pictures I've seen, it looks like it was just, off the shelf, like Bofang radios that they ordered from Amazon or whatever, and they're utilized or Bofang provided it. So it's just amazing.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to take a minute to. Last week when I did this, baby, problems happened. Sidecar Steve almost nasalified his coffee, so I'll play this one straight.
Yeah.
This is the intersection of life and amateur radio, so we're going to talk a little bit what's going on in the world, and we'll do even a little bit more of that after I tell you about our friends at LDG, family-owned and operated, Steve. They've got other things, balance, onions, analog meters that are beautiful. I call it the sexy meter. And of course, the world-famous tuners worldwide. And the best customer service, second to none. Visit ldgelectronics.com online, and everywhere you look, there's an LDG. I just want to play that sexy song a little longer. But moving through, commercial break, Ricardo. That's right. They'll let you know. I like to do the live reads, less editing. See, I could give it to Scotty, but Scotty's like, man, what you giving me? I need the money, dude. I need them cash. I need those nickels. So we got to take up a fund to get Scotty to do some editing work for me, because this was a pain. I got to do them all live now.
Pay for that Pro Tools subscription.
Got to do the Pro Tools. I'm just trying not to do the editing. I'm lazy or just too busy. Just wanted to show we have a producer. We have another producer, Patrick, who you know, who can't be here today. He's doing some other great work somewhere else. But he wrote to RigExpert. And, of course, we have them. We've been showing our support here for a month. It's a little gesture to just show our support for RigExpert. And they wrote him back. You know, he told them we were doing that. We're thinking of them. We're just a bunch of hams, but we know we're a ham radio company, and we're thinking about you guys. Pardon me. And she wrote back. It's a lady. And then I wrote, because, it was another kind of, this is what we're doing. Let's communicate with you and keep you up to date. And she wrote me back this morning, in fact. So I'm putting this in. And her name is Katerina Bystryakova. She writes, Dear Christian, in these tragic hours for Ukraine, help and support take on multiple meanings. Unfortunately, at the moment, each of our team is facing difficulties of physical, psychological, and material nature. We're fighting for our country with arms in hand, deed, and word. We are united as a nation and a team. Our team has to endure hardship. The war separated us from our relatives and friends, and some of us lost property and saving accumulated over the years. Our team was forced to disperse to cities and countries, but now everyone is doing their best to support our business, which is extremely difficult in war. At the beginning of the war, they were doing all right. This is a month into this now. And so things have changed, I would say that on their behalf, if you're interested in supporting a company like this is a company based in Ukraine. They make RigExpert. I use them. Steve uses them. Scotty uses them. You guys may even use them. You can drop them a line if there's anything that you feel that you could do to help, or you're curious just to know how they're doing. You can write to them at office@rigexpert.com. This is the part where there's a lot of pride in the Ukrainian people, this company. And I don't believe that they're going to come right out and say we need help. But reading between the lines, guys, this is a company, a ham radio company, that needs help now. I know you may not be able to do too much, but you could write to them and show support. If you could do something, they could let you know how to do that. But more than a month now, and can you imagine trying to do business under these conditions? This has to be sent. Go ahead, Steve, pick it up. But thank you for that note.
That's just unbelievable of how they can continue supporting their customers, and we're their customers, and it's just horrifying. And then have all your personnel spread out all over the place, and they're thinking of themselves, their family is first priority. But it's great to hear from her. And so if you can, if you're into antenna building or just want to know how your antenna system is, I highly recommend the RigExpert. Super easy to use, real nice piece of equipment, and it'll be a great way to support a company that supports us. It's these are our fellow amateurs, and so yeah, we need to give them what kind of support we can.
Just a disclaimer: they're not a sponsor of ours. We actually use this product, and they're just in a battle zone right now. And for me, and I think the guys too, it's a small gesture to put it up, and we put it up on the sets, and for the last weeks after weeks. And I didn't, I didn't expect to hear from them at all in this time. But she's finding a way. They're moving out. They're still trying to do it. So if you're interested, drop them a line, and maybe you can help. I don't know. What do you think, Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's the fact that they're still operating and getting back to customers and giving feedback to inquiries about how things are going over there during all that's happening is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
We all use them, we love them, and they need our support.
Think about it. Office@rigexpert.com. And I told them I'd get that message out to the community. They're not asking for a handout. I'm just saying a month into this, they need help. There you go. A little bit of ham radio news.
100 watts and a wire news.
Too much? I'm dropping into the newsroom.
Teletype.
You like it? Too hot? Is it too hot? I don't want to hurt anybody's ears. Yeah, I like it. Thanks, Scotty, for pulling that. We have a silent key to note. He's an award-winning amateur radio operator, Zorro. I don't know if he's in any of your books. JH1AJT is a silent key. He died of cancer. He was only 72 years old. And what's interesting is cancer sucks. Cancer took my father. F you, cancer, as much as I can. I wish you all could see this listening to the podcast, but double barrel FUs are going out to cancer. This fella, he was instrumental to de-expeditions. This was reported by Amateur Radio Newsline. He did a de-expedition to Yemen, Ethiopia, and others, known for his humanitarian work. He helped establish prep schools, a prep school in Japan with additional humanitarian trips to Asia and Africa. This is one of the good guys. And cancer has taken him at 72. Take a look and see if he's in your logbook, because JH1AJT, big player, well-respected, humanitarian, and that's the kind of guy that we need. More news here. A little bit of clarification came out this week, Steve and Scotty. The new FCC application fee will not apply to amateur radio license upgrades. The FCC staff has clarified in a recent response to the ARRL request that the new $35 application fee will not apply to most license modifications, including those to upgrade an amateur radio licensee operator class and changes to club station trustees. The FCC staff explained that the new fees will apply only to applicants for new license and renewal, rule waiver, and a new vanity call sign. It was previously announced that this will take effect on April 19th. So there you go. The quote is, "We are pleased that the FCC will not charge licensees the FCC application fee for license upgrade applications," said the ARRL.
That's fantastic.
So
yeah, I saw that, and I was really happy to see that. And no fee change for modifications. I figured the modifications would be waived, but they classified upgrades as modifications, so that's fantastic.
Ben says the teletype sounds like for frying baking. You must be hungry, brother. That's all I'm going to say, because to me it sounds like teletype. Steve got it right away. You're thinking about eating somebody's pig. What's wrong with you? Okay. So, yeah, if anybody has any comments about that, I think that's good news because before that announcement, it basically seemed like you're going to pay for it. You know, there was concern about, am I going to be charged even if I don't get my vanity call sign? You know, sometimes you don't get it. I had one of these cases. Before I was K0STH, I was KD0STH. I wanted to drop the D. There was a sexy 3-land call sign, and I'm like, I'm from Baltimore. I'm going to get a 3. I don't care. And if you don't know where to point your beam, you should ask me. I had this, you know, I was going to do it. And I didn't get it. It was a sexy call sign, too. And I'd forgotten it, but it was, you know, a 1x2 with a 3 next to it. And I didn't get it. I got K0STH, and I was like, well, that's fate. And the hippie in me was like, yeah, man, peace and love. You're just supposed to be K0STH, man. Yeah, man, yeah. So that's what I went with.
Stairway to heaven, brother.
Stairway to heaven. Sweeter than honey, baby. It worked out fine, right?
Yeah.
But so people were concerned about, you know, you could make like 2 or 3 options or maybe even more. Which one do you want? And they pick one for you and go, you didn't get this lottery. You got this one. So people were like, what if I lose? And before this announcement came out, it was very much like win or lose, you're paying. And the people were like, damn.
Well, they did that before. Early on in the vanity program, you had to pay to play in the vanity lottery. And what ended up happening was that they got bogged down. They, being the FCC, got bogged down with all the refunds. Because you had to, when you submitted your application, you had to put it, you know, pay the fee. And then if you weren't successful in getting the call that you wanted, if you only put in for 1 call and you weren't successful, then they had to go through the refund process, which in turn, you know, cost more money for the agency to process that. And that just became a huge driving factor when they eliminated the fee for vanities. Well, now it's back in because of, you know, Congress, but I don't know how they're going to do it. Hopefully, if they have some common sense, and it would be into, okay, you are the winner of the call sign, or you've gotten successful. Now you pay your fee. That way, they don't have to do all this refunds, but we won't know until after April 19th how it's all going to play out. But it's going to be interesting to see. If they collect the money beforehand, then it's going to be a total waste. It's going to be another crap show like it was in the past.
Any thoughts on that, Scotty?
Well, as someone who's studying for his extra, hopefully soon, it's nice that I won't have to pay the fee. But yeah, that's about the only comment I have on that.
Okay, I'm gonna. We got
buy
some
more guitar picks.
Exactly. More guitar picks,
more to get lost.
I'm gonna put a new poll up, so to speak. Oh, didn't get anything. This has been one of those weeks where I don't know. I can't tell. It is on, and I feel like Scotty's audio is low. Do you feel that way too? A little bit. It's a little low. You better boost up your audio, boy. I'm going to get these crap emails. Good Lord.
Goose the preamp a little bit.
There you go.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
There she is.
We put up a poll. Steve wanted to know, like, during these contest weekends, and this is for the people who are, you know, at here with us. And again, listeners are encouraged to come here. We do the live show, the community show. It does not live on YouTube at this point. That's another poll I could do. I could ask about that, but we'll get to that some other time. He wanted to know what people in our chat here are doing in terms of contesting. 69% of the people said no. I am not a contester. 31% said yes. So, but Steve wanted to know what you do. You know, what is it that you do during the contesting weeks? And I was like, a poll is like yes or no, or you can't just... But we can ask you here, what did you want to know from the people, Steve, about contesting?
Oh, what if they didn't? Okay, so if you participated in the contest, great. Whether it was, you know, for 1 hour or the full 30, I think this contest had you 36 hours as a single op and 48 for multis. But if you didn't participate in the contest and the bands were full, and instead of getting grumpy and not getting on the air, what did you do? I mean, for myself, I mean, if you go to the Discord, and here's a great opportunity. If you're not in part of our Discord group, come and join us, and you can see what some of us do on contest weekends. In my case, I was building antennas and posted pictures and screenshots from the RigExpert after hoisting up the antenna on the UDI test range, and just to tune the antenna. So yeah, I built a couple of double bazookas for 40 meters and started on the 20-meter bazooka, and he was like, okay, well, what other antennas can I make? Oh, maybe let's crank out some off-center feds, and just kind of goofing off and still participating in the hobby of building, and but not operating. So I was just wondering, if I was doing this, I wonder what other people were doing. Maybe you decided to take a break from the radio and go out and do some golfing, gardening, or whatever. So it was just kind of curiosity. I see a lot of hate comes out after the contests in the various forums, that people just lose their collective minds. Their panties are all wadded up because there was people enjoying their hobby their way.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Sherry, I'll be in your office here in a few.
I would call a timeout, but you know who we're dealing with. Yeah.
And so it just kind of curious what our community does during contest weekend for the non-contest participant.
Likewise, I have a trip coming up. It's scheduled in June. I'll be going out to Montana and in God's country. I love it out there and love to visit. Got family out there, and it starts to get a whir on. I'll just spend a couple minutes on this because we'll talk about it as we lead up. Should we go? We're going to fly this time. So should I take a radio? Should I not take a radio? What's the weather going to be? All these things. Steve, of course, is like, yeah, take a radio. Yeah. Because now I need to figure out the antenna. What am I going to do? I thought I'll take an end-fed antenna, and we'll get into this in the coming weeks. I promise you. I'll take 66 feet of wire and 49-1 or something like that. But then I'm like, I could take the 705. These are first world problems, right? 705, I could take that, but I don't have a tuner in it. I think it's a deficiency of this radio, and then I got to take another piece of equipment. That's kind of a pain. I could take the 7300 though, with 66 feet. So I'm going through all this stuff, but the flying is what I'm, and so I just put another question out there to our audience. Do you check the radio, pack it up real nice and check it? Or do you carry it on? And I know that some people, they got to have it and they got to keep it close, and I get it. Or do you pack it? Pack it up real nice. And some people don't want it to be bouncing along conveyor belts during that sort of deal. And I get it. So anyway, that's a discussion that we're going to have over the coming weeks about traveling with ham radio. And HT is easy. Sometimes an HT isn't even. I take it out, throw it on the thing, they don't even care. I've got my license, take my license with me, got everything I need. But taking a bigger radio, taking a battery, the batteries you need, all that sort of stuff becomes issues. You got to carry on a battery now, So anyway, just I'll put another poll up there so you guys can come around and answer that if you want to. Do you check it or do you carry it on? You can do that while you're here. Go ahead.
Let's talk to our traveling expert, Ben. He travels all over the country and flies everywhere. And Ben will have some great insights.
Yeah, you think I got to bring him on the show? Its problem is he also likes to watch dogs take poops and then have pictures of them and then send it to me as if I am interested, as if I need to know the dietary actions of the dog. But looking at the poll right now, yeah, Ben, we could probably get Ben on to talk about. 89% so far say that they would carry on. 11% would check it. So that's just a little quick, easy poll. I love that we can do these polls. They're so fun. It's time for us. We're going to put some time aside here. We really do here at 100 Watts and a Wire want to make this a place where you can get tips, you can get the tools you need, and some practical solutions for your problems so we can help you achieve your radio goals. So if you have a question that you would like us to answer, go ahead and put it in the chat here today. If you're here, you can also send it on the form, and we can do all that as well. We have a few that came across. Just put a Q in front of it if you're here. And we've got some that come in during the week. Steve doesn't want to see them. Some of them he's going to see now because of the Qs are here. But you're welcome. If you're stuck, or if you know you've got a couple of options, but you need just a little bit more, like here I am. Should I carry it on or should I check it, fellas? I don't know. And Steve's already been dealing with this with me earlier this week. I'm like, what do you think I should do, man? I don't know. And sometimes we just need somebody to shake us and say, don't shake anybody. Just say, what should I do? What do you think I should do? If you have anything like that, put a Q in front of it.
For me, to answer the poll question, to carry on or check, I would go the check. And just to lighten up the load of what I carry onto the aircraft. And it just kind of like, well, do I have the MacBook with me or do the radio? I think I'll put the MacBook during the flight. If you pack the radio right, then it should be fine and checked carry. But but that's me. But 89% of our respondents said they rather carry it with them. They want it close.
A slight shift now in those numbers. We go to the poll. 75% say carry on. 25 now with the check it. I'm with you right now, Steve. With the situation in my gut, I'm doing okay. Thanks for people who write and ask. I'm doing all right. I manage. Go see the doctor on Thursday, the surgeon, just to get consultation. But for me, the 7300 I showed Steve, it's not a huge radio. It fits in like a laptop case. I got a travel case out. It would work, but it is a little bit of extra weight. I know I'm going to have, I got my kids. I'm going to have my own backpack. Carrying something else, I know everybody's like, I want to keep it safe. I want to keep it close. I don't want it bouncing down the belts. Got it. Dig it. For me, in this situation, a family situation where having a hand at least to hold a kid is better, so I'm kind of leaning like you toward the check it. Who knows? If they say the weather's going to be too cold or it's going to be whatever, I might just go, I don't know. But right now I'm leaning toward taking a radio with me on the road when I go. Certainly live stream stuff. Let's do some questions, Steve, because I want to give time to the folks who have questions. All right. Here's our first question. I have a slate roof. Do you think installing an antenna in the attic will work? That's from Kyle.
I think so. Yeah, I think it'll work. It's not a metal roof, so I don't think there's any metal in slate. So it won't be as. I think there'll probably be a little bit more attenuation, just a slight bit, but I think it'll work just fine.
I don't know the breakdown of, I want to say the chemical breakdown of slate. I don't know what that, I have a slate roof. And I guess Kyle wants to know, is it even worth it? Is it going to be able to push that signal out? And these radio waves are just so fascinating of what you can get out. I remember a guy helped me with an antenna in the early days, back to my hex beam. And he's looking around in the woods and he's like, these leaves are going to, and I was like, the leaves? And so he was kind of tripping a little bit on the fact that I had a forest around me and that they were going to cause some sort of problem. I'm like, well, they ain't going anywhere. You know what I mean? They got to stay up there. So I can tell that Kyle is interested to know what that thick, beautiful slate will do to his signal. And you say, go ahead and try it.
I always kind of lean onto where if there's doubt, it's just like, well, let's try it. Let's see what we get. And for HF, I think it won't be a problem. It might be a little more problematic at VHF, UHF, like the leaves. You're going to have attenuation through the foliage because leaves have moisture in it. And so that's going to have an effect more on the VHF and above. HF, not so much. I mean, it will have some effect, but but as far as the slate goes, yeah, it's kind of a rock. It's a hard material. I think it will work, and then through the RF will get through the siding and everything else. So I think you'll do all right. you'll be probably pleasantly surprised like the rest of us. And if it doesn't work, then it's like, okay, plan B, got to come up with something else.
Let us know how it works out for you. And thanks for the question, Kyle. Question number 2. Let's see. I can't see this word. I can't see it. Read it for me, Steve. I can't see that.
How much chance do I have igniting a tree? 100 watts? Oh, little to none. Unless that tree was dead, and you'd have to have some kind of arcing. And no, I don't see it at 100 watts. It's
So Gus is saying he's basically got a line in a tree, right? And he's going to run 100 watts. And I could see this because I remember this feeling too. You know, you're kind of touching limbs. Maybe it's not ideal, but maybe you are touching it here. Am I going to light this tree on fire? And that's what Gus wants to know. Is it possible at all? He's running an end-fed half wave.
I think it's possible, but more at like 1500 watts and. At the end of the wire where you're going to have, especially if it's at a quarter wavelength, we're going to get into the weeds in this one. If you're at a quarter wavelength where the RF voltage is at the highest, yeah, it's possible, but highly unlikely. I haven't seen that over the years, but you never know.
Has anybody here ever lit a tree on fire? It seems like it would have to really be going wrong. Something would go wrong. So be careful.
Yeah, you'd have to have some kind of arcing. And if you have a live tree, its chances of igniting that is going to be a little less than versus a dead tree. And a dead tree is not going to have any moisture in it. So I just don't see it. But, anything's possible. There's probably one instance somewhere in the world where it's happened. And sidecar, you're full of it. And it's like, yeah, I am. But,
that's right.
Stuff happens. So.
All right. Just be careful, man. Be careful. We can't give you any, guarantees of anything. You are running power out there, but we don't know of anything is what we're saying.
If you do light it on, you ignite the tree, let me know. Take pictures. I want to
get
see
video of it. We'd love to see that. We'll put it on our Discord channel.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the Discord. We'll throw it on the YouTube channel.
We'll be taking some other questions from the chat. If you have one, put a Q. It can be about anything. It can be about anything, life and amateur radio. If we can help you with your goals, getting on radio or amateur radio, put a Q in front of it. We can help you out. We'll try to at least. Okay, will a half-wave 80-meter dipole work? Seems awful long and will sag. Dave, will a half-wave 80-meter dipole work? That does seem long.
It's a big antenna, and yes, it will work on 80 meters. Now, I'm thinking that there's a little bit more to the question there, Dave. Do you want it to work on other bands? And yes, it can work on some other bands. 40 meters, not really, but it'll probably load up on 20 and 10 meters. But as far as an 80-meter dipole, yes, it will work if you're using it on 80 meters. I wouldn't try it on 160 unless you got a really beefy, heavy-duty tuner. But other than that, it will work.
Good deal. All right, let's bring up Scotty. We got some questions that came along through the chat here. I don't know of any recent ones, but we have a couple here, notes from earlier. Again, if you have one, put a Q in front of it. This is our time to answer some questions right now. So I don't know, is this one from Spike? Go ahead. You want to read it? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was from Spike. He was with his 7300. He's noticing some spikes. Spike's noticing some spikes across his band scope at regular intervals. Any idea what the heck those are? He asks.
What frequency?
He didn't really specify.
Give us some more information.
It could be anything.
Spike.
There is over the horizon radar. There's some. You see it at night a lot here, at least on the West Coast. I've seen a lot of spikes and signals that pop up that move around. There's a pretty consistent. If you have a pan adapter, you really see it. But as it sweeps across the band, it starts at the low end and works its way all the way up. And if you're sitting on a frequency, you hear kind of like a little blip as it goes through your band pass. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on that's, infringes here in our amateur bands, and you just kind of live with it.
I had a trip to Montana several years ago, and I took out, I think it was the 701, I think. And anyway, I set up, everything looked beautiful. It was windy out there, in God's country, wide open. And I had I had the mast up, everything was good. And so I was getting these blips. And I'm like, what is that? This kind of sound that was consistent across the whole thing. I'm like, okay, let me go to another band. And what it turned out to be was that I was near this cow fence. I wasn't over it. I don't know if you remember this. We probably have talked about it. I was running parallel to a cow fence in my brother-in-law's place. And I didn't think that I was too close. And it was giving me, not that that's Spike's problem with his spikes, but I had this sort of interference, this kind of...
This pulsating.
And I'm like, what is this? So anyway, I figured that out and moved further away from that. Don't know if it's the same thing, but Montana just spiked. Too many spikes. There's way too many spikes going on here.
When I hear spike, I'm starting to think about where's the deer.
Various radars. And all sorts of noise. Defense radars. We had an Aberdeen proving ground just north of Baltimore. They had a blimp up a few years back, and they were testing some radar system from a fixed blimp, and it just knocked out all of 2 meters for all of the eastern half of Maryland. It was crazy.
Dang. Well, wow, I want to create a new poll. I'm having fun with these polls while you're here. Let's see if there's enough people even here to make it worthwhile. There's another question, and I'll put the poll up here before we go. Mark asked, how many have shack insurance, and who do you use, ARRL or others? Steve, do you want to talk about insurance and insuring all your valuable equipment?
The only one that comes into mind is ARRL, but their homeowners insurance also covers contents, and you can work that out with your agent.
Scott, you got some insurance? You were in a flood area there. I hate to bring up a sensitive subject, but how do you make sure you're protected?
I'd have some renter's insurance here, and I have some of my radio stuff under that. But I have been looking into the ARRL insurance plan, and it's something I need to get on and get done before I get screwed from another weather event.
What happened? Just a figure of speech. I don't think a weather event was actually going to come and give it to Scotty in that fashion. There's another question I got from Phil, our friend Phil. We're trying to contact him. I know we don't. Steve has called a number we believe to be Phil. Phil calls in on the radio every Sunday, 7 o'clock for our Sunday evening net. He cited some issues that he's going to be it's going to happen to him and knock him off the air for a while. And so we were thinking about what it would take to maybe deploy a team that way. I don't know why I feel I've got this army of people that will just go around in the country and help people. But if you'd like to sponsor an event like this, I think I could get at least 3 brothers that you're looking at to go and help somebody out. But Phil, he's pushing up on his mid-80s. He's a veteran of our military. He's a mainstay. When we don't hear from him on Sundays during the net, we start to worry. It's just nothing's guaranteed. So anyway, Steve gave him a call just to try to see what's going on. We haven't heard back from him. Not that he's passed or anything strange has happened. He probably thought Steve was trying to sell him, Call him again and say, I got these apples. Steve, it's apples, because he loves apples. And he talks to Steve about these. What is it? The crispy, whatever it's called. But man, they go on for
crisp, and I saw them on sale at one of our stores at 98 cents a pound. And I saw that and I was like, Phil. I started thinking of Phil. I need to get maybe 5 or 6 pounds and box it up and send it to him.
Send it to me too. It makes it, it sounds so great. I put a new poll up in the chat. Boy, my lips just started moving faster than my tongue. It was sorry about that, listeners. I wanted to ask the folks, do you want the live streams that we do here on Saturday morning to live and stay up on the YouTube channel? I'm getting a little bit, now that I blew a gasket last week, and I'll get back to Phil in a second. I didn't blow a gasket, but I'm like, YouTube's got me by the balls. I feel like something I gotta, I feel like maybe I just go break away and do what I want to do, because resoundingly, people are like, do what you want to do, Christian. If you want to go over here and do this, we'll go with you. And I'm like, cool, we got a little small army of people, but I want to make it easy for people. I want to do what the people want. So a real impromptu poll of the people here in the chat today. Do you want this show? See, this gets recorded and sent out to the podcast. It would post tomorrow morning on YouTube. We used to always leave them up. And in recent months, I thought, well, maybe it's best that I just keep the podcast to the podcast. But 94% right now say yes, leave it up. 6% say no. Still got time to vote. A few more minutes as we go. Getting back to old Phil, he asked me, he said, Christian, tell me what radio you're on. I said, I'm on 7610, sir. Loved it. Audio. He talked about the 7300, and I told him that's kind of my backup portable rig that I use out in the field, and he wanted to know the difference. So this is another question. Again, we could probably snap off a couple quick ones if you have, put a Q in front of it. Christian, tell me the differences between the 7300 and the 7610. And the first thing, I'm like several $1,000s, first of all.
Yeah.
And, I paid for them. ICOM was a sponsor, but they didn't just give me radios. That's not how that works. I paid for everything that I use, and I believe in working with, if you're going to sponsor this show, I'd like to use your product. So we believe in it, So the 7300 I purchased, the 7610 came out. I don't know. I got a hard on for it. I'm like, yeah, I need it. Sorry, Sherry, that was inappropriate. So I bought it. The difference, I think, is they're basically the same radio, but the 7610 would be great for contesting. It's got that dual, it's got the two sides, 2 meters. You could probably listen to two different antennas coming in. I think if you were a hardcore contester, it's probably, in other words, a little more radio than I need at this point in my life. The 7300 would do me just fine, and many, many other people just fine. 7610, it's got, what is it called? The dual meter? What is it called?
I think they call it dual watch or something, and then it might have a second. I think it
second
receiver.
Have
a second receiver in it.
Yeah. So you can listen to two different things. You could have two different antennas connected to it. You can listen to two different frequencies. I could listen on 20 meters. I could listen on 40 meters. It's a little more than I need but I would think if you're a contester and if you had the dough, I got it because I was caught up in I got to have the next big thing and gobble, 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 eat too much and all that. But Phil asked me, he wanted to know, and he wants to know all the audio. He asked what everybody's using and that sort of stuff. So there you go, sir. Apart from the money, I think if you're a contester, the 7610 is something that you would use a lot more of. Is that the same for you and your radio, Steve? I mean, you got a sexy radio. Is it more than what you need?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely more than
good.
what
I don't
need,
feel bad
but
anymore. Steve's the enabler. He's the one that's like, yeah, get it. Get it. Is it too much? Is it the 68-ounce steak? Get it. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't need it right now, you can always take it home.
Yeah, take it home.
And no, it's having the second receiver. It gives you options down the road. Now, whether you use it today, it's one thing, but down the road, there might be an opportunity to use it, and it's nice to have it. I only use just a very little of all the capabilities of the radios that I have, whether it's the 3000, the 101. It just it's but every now and then something comes up, and then I got to go look it up in the manual and figure out how do I do that, and then utilize it. And I was like, why didn't I do this before? And but
having it, I can grow into it. If I change, I don't expect myself to buy a different radio or upgrade from this one. I'm riding with this one because I have to. I got a family. Speaking of, wanted to do my boy a favor here. I don't know, but Scotty's going to be selling a rig, y'all. And I didn't want to do it on social as much because it gets a little tricky. If somebody has a bad experience and everybody's selling and pushing things around, then it's 100 watts and a wire. But on the show here, as a member here working with us, you got a rig and you're thinking of letting it go. Tell us a little bit about it. And then people, if they're interested in this radio, they can contact Scotty directly or PM or whatever. But what are you getting rid of, Scotty?
So yeah, I have a Yaesu FT891, very popular rig with the POTA crowd. I got it a few years back with the intention of going all in heavy, hard and heavy with the POTA. Hey now,
come on now.
Turns out more often than not, I take my FT 450 with me. I'm a little bit of a Yaesu fanboy. So the 450 goes out in the field. The 891 kind of stays in the box, and like, you know what? I could use a little bit of cash, save it up. For
Look at Steve. Look at Steve. Steve's like, wow.
No, I'm kind of like going, okay.
I've decided to let it go.
Why the 450 versus the 891? I'm kind of.
Well, it's 450 was my first HF rig, so there's some sentimental there. Plus, I like it's got the built-in tuner. It's got some decent DSP noise reduction, and that cool contour feature. On the 891 or on the 450, I can press and hold it, and it'll invert, so it'll either do a contour boost or a contour cut. I can just access that real easy. Love the 450. It's a great radio. It was a sleeper. It was my first HF rig, and so.
Okay, so he's got sentimental value. These guys. Okay, so
I was curious on why the 450 versus the 891. So because it's physically a little bit bigger radio, but hey, if you're more comfortable with it, all the better.
Do you have a price point? What were you looking to get? Or do you want to keep that private? That's fine.
I mean, I listed it briefly on my local Facebook marketplace, but I haven't had any bites. I was $500.
891, an 891 gently used Yaesu 891. Talking about 500. If you're interested, give Scotty a yell. We're on Discord, and I think Steve and I wanted to always keep that sales stuff and the trading stuff because you get some characters. Not that Scotty's a character at all. He's a character, but he's not going to stiff you.
He's a character.
He's not going to stiff you when it comes time to giving you what you agreed to. So I'll mention that for you.
There's no gummies jammed up in the antenna connection. So
there might be a rogue guitar pick or something in there.
No, that's something else entirely.
Hey, do you want to? We got a couple minutes. We're a little bit of overtime. We didn't get to our contest. Scotty, do you want to give us the contest, or what? One of you guys could do contests, or we got a ham fest going on. What do we know about that?
Okay. Oh, what we got going on here?
Oh, Don says he thinks 500. That seems fair. Yes, sir. 5, 891. We got
891.
501.
The pot a little bit with some gummies.
Yeah, throw in a gummy, an autographed, signed bag of gummies. I like it.
Guitar pick and some gummies. It's rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll.
Marty's got two of these. He said he's got two. That's his main baby and his backup. He said if he didn't have two, he'd buy one. So there you go. There's a little testament to our community who knows about it. Again, if you're interested in this, you can find Scotty on Discord. Give him your call sign, Scotty, so they know who to look up if they need to.
Yeah, hit me up on a private message on Discord. Kilo Charlie 3 Bravo X-Ray November. Scotty KC3BXN is my ID over there on the Discord.
Right on.
Hit me up and we'll talk.
Cool deal. All right, good. I hope you sell it. And I hope you sell it today.
Thank you.
What's going on with the contest this weekend? Steve's favorite thing. He might be building antennas.
Well, I'm trying to find my tab for the.
I got you. I'll pick you up. Louisiana QSO party. Let me know if you need it when you get it back. You got it?
No, not yet. Go ahead.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Get to your PMs and sell that radio. Louisiana QSO party is happening this weekend. The Mississippi and Missouri QSO parties are happening. Florida State Parks on the air. That sounds interesting there. And there's a couple of ham fests. Ozark Con in Branson, Missouri. That's happening. yesterday and today, actually. It looks like I'll have to check on that one. I'm not going to get down there, but we'll check that out. The TARC Fest, TARC Fest in Tampa, Florida, that's happening today from 8 to 1. So if you're in the area, get on over there. And there's a D-Expedition. You see that one, Scotty?
Yeah, that's
what happened?
Kind of cool.
Lost my screen there.
Yeah, I know. I'm having screen issues too.
It's a Guadalupe, March
Guadalupe
25th
Island.
to April the 8th. HF band, single side band, and FT8. There you go. Don't forget, we have the Sunday evening net, 7 o'clock Central Time. We got a live stream. So if you're not near a radio, you can be near a computer. Come visit, hang out with us. Find your people on Facebook and Discord. We're there. We appreciate all that you guys do and contribute to our community. We hope we helped you today, give you some tips and some tools and some practical advice to help you reach your amateur radio goals. Steve, what did we miss?
I think we got it covered.
We got it all.
We're good.
I know
Appreciate everybody being here.
We stayed too long because we have the bladder, the 16 ounces in the 12-ounce bladder. And Steve's like, I think we got it. I think we got it, man. We got it. Yep. Mm-hmm. No, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Make it wrap.
We're good. We're good, man. I'm going to see it. Just take the camera. Take me off the camera. I don't care what you do. All right, brothers and sisters.
One other thing, while you got up the Hamfest, what do we have coming up for a week out? So, unfortunately, a lot of folks are probably, either at the Hamfest or it's too late to go. But what do we have coming up like next week for Hamfest?
Oh, you're asking the people. Is that what you're doing? Or you're asking me? I don't know. Scotty does all that research. And now we got to do 2 weeks in advance. All right, Scotty. Now we know 2 weeks in advance.
What's coming up next week? So which losers? Which losers?
Lord, timeout. Kudnick calls a timeout on his own man. We've got a lot of losers.
Sorry.
How many?
Did I say that out loud?
What is in his cup? If you can tell us what's in his cup, we got a lot of losers on his.
What is?
We got a lot of losers, see? See, you go a ham fest, and then you're losers. Oh, good
well,
grief.
about next week's half fest.
Yeah. Hey, we're not we're just playing, but yeah, I don't understand why Steve would say such a thing. But where's my? Oh man, where is it? I had something cool to play. I guess I don't have it here. All right.
Well, so yeah, no, it'd be nice to know what Hamfest or even contests we have coming up. We should.
My name's Mark. I'm an alcoholic.
Dorothy T.
This is for you guys.
I'm an alcoholic.
For so long, alcohol has sort of been there for me to sort of see me through social situations.
Drinking was more important than anything else.
My journey in AA started years ago when I reached the outside limits of my desperation.
I really wanted to quit drinking. I just couldn't stop on my own. And I remember when I woke up on the day that I got sober, I felt something inside of me tell me that I could go to AA.
These people, just gathered around me. That was the fellowship in action in my life.
The moral of my story today is that AA has never let me down, ever.
If I carry any sort of message with my story, it's that keep coming back, and that this thing does work.
If you have a problem with alcohol, contact AA. It works.
Steve?
Yeah.
If you want to, it's no joking matter. Of course, we're trying to, it's a lot of problems, man. I was going to go on a rant, but I think we should do a post-show rant because I wanted to talk about Will Smith and all this going on, and only anybody cares about this, but that's bullying. That's bullying. What he did was a bully. And we got bullies in ham radio. We got problems in ham radio, and I'm not afraid to tackle that sort of stuff. So that's a real sobriety deal. We're not joking about alcoholism and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know what's in Steve's cup. I've been told we should try to do a show. It might be a little better if we were drinking a lot of tequila. And I'm like, are you nuts? Me and Steve drinking. Now we get Scotty.
Have
And
you
I'm
seen
like,
us on
no,
the
don't.
Sunday night Nets?
Oh, the Nets are
Haven't
nutty.
you watched us?
Don't you know we've had a gallon of wine in our belly by then? So it does get interesting, but we don't want to downplay the fact that people do struggle, and if you have struggles, we want to, love for you to get the help you need. But old Will Smith, that's a bullying situation. I think I'll have to do another video after that. Poor Chris Rock. He was a skinny kid growing up. He was bullied as a kid, and that's exactly what happened. You can't tell me that, now I'm ranting again. If Dwayne Johnson would have said that joke, which is a pretty soft joke, not good anyway, it wasn't a great joke, but if Dwayne Johnson would have said that, you'd think Will Smith would have run up there and hit The Rock in the face. I don't think so. Aquaman? No, he went up there because he thought he could handle a smaller guy. Anyway, now I'm going to rant. This is part 2 of the show. Let me get out of here before everybody just is like, oh, I can't stand it. 73, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us and listening. Subscribe where you get your podcast. Subscribe if you want to see video extras on YouTube, live streams like this. We appreciate you so much. 73, Steve. 73, Scotty. Have a great week.
7-3, guys.
You guys, 7-3.
All right.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you all.
If you can, stay above the noise. 7-3.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsindawire.com.